What's going on, guys? This is Bailey with Rogers Performance Marine. In honor of model year 2023 coming out for Lund, we've got a 2003 Lund in here to kind of show you what 20 years difference looks like in Lund. So what we've got right here is a 2003 Lund Baron. So this is before Brunswick was building the boats. It was built by Genmar. You still see a lot of the same Lund quality that you're looking for today. Of course, in 20 years, they've had a lot of improvements, a lot of R&D, and they've taken the fishing boat and the aluminum market to a whole nother level. What we're going to be doing with this one, though, is this essentially going to be a complete restoration. We've got a 250 Verado we're going to put on it. It's an old used motor, but we're going to repower it with that. We took off a 200 horsepower, just naturally aspirated four-stroke that was on it. We got a 15 horsepower kicker we're going to throw on it. Unfortunately, the boat has a bad transom right now. We're going to upgrade it to the composite transom. We're going to do some new electronics on the inside, get it all cleaned up, and hopefully find a new owner for it. So while we're doing this, there's been a lot of talk about transoms. There's been a lot of talk about motors, outboards, propping, whatnot. That we see with our Lund customers. We just want to go over all that, show you guys what we do, how we do it, as well as hopefully answer some questions that you may have on your new or old Lund. So we're going to kind of walk you through this process and get going on it right now. All right, so we've had one of our mechanics pull out the old transom. You can see here, this is the old bad transom. Something I want to point out that gets talked about when we get on the Lund forums and on the Lund Facebook page is, everyone gripes about the old wood transoms and the transom rot. One thing I want to point out if you come close in this video, so these holes right here are where the factory had originally mounted the motor when this boat was built over 20 years ago. Keep in mind, the Baron's one of their flagship models for a reason. It's their biggest boat. It's used the hardest. It's likely used on, big lakes, the Great Lakes. That's what it's designed for. So this transom, it takes a lot of beating. But again, if you look at where this motor was bolted, you see where all the rivets went through for the stringers. There's really no transom rot to speak of after 20 years with all the factory added equipment. You look on top where the gunnel cap was, or the transom cap, excuse me, the through hole fittings, they're all holding up really well. If we go over to the starboard side of the boat, though, you can see this is where the transom rot became an issue. Yes, composite would have been better if it was just done 20 years ago, but it wasn't. You can see here the wood's rotted away. Our mechanic had to break it out. It's all trash. But if you actually look on the transom here, the customer that traded this boat in, he had a ladder that somebody had mounted here. All these holes down here were from a transducer that was improperly mounted. And as you see on the wood transom itself, that's where the issues came from. So what I'm getting at here, yes, wood can have an issue. Done properly, as you can see over here, 20 years of lifetime is no problem. But if you're paying a guy to do it wrong, they're not sealing up the components they put on the exterior, whether it's transducers, ladders, extra motors, what have you, this is the result you get. It's not something that Lund's done, in my opinion. You can have your own opinion, but it's improperly mounted external, transducers and ladders that caused this transom to rot early. Otherwise, this customer could have gotten another 20 years out of it, the way I see it. Now, what we're going to go and do is the mechanic pulled this out. He's going to patch all the holes in the transom, and then Jesse at Lund hooked us up with this full composite transom. So once we get this new composite transom put in, this boat's going to last a lifetime. Cool fact, this is what's coming in all the new Lund boats. If you buy them today for 2023, it's a full composite transom. So, if you want to be the at-home mechanic that installs your transducer, don't necessarily recommend it, but this is going to hold up a lot better than the wood did. So we're going to let our mechanics get to work, and we'll keep you posted with some videos and updates on the boat.